Hi there. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to our session today. And with me, I have my co presenter, Rex. Rex has been in the industry for at least 20 years. It's not true, but he'll be very helpful in our exploration on taking it easy on my desk. So, what I'd like to cover today, you hear me talk about reviews and getting reviews, and I'd like to talk about why. Uh, let's go ahead and I'm going to put my presentation here on the screen. You can see it. There we go. And we'll get started here. And the first thing I want to talk about is well, actually, I want to ask you a question. And that question is how many jobs did you lose last month before the customer ever called you? Let that sit for a second. What we'll be exploring today is the main reason why your customers are choosing either you or your competitors, and what you can do to bring more business your way before you ever get on the phone. And before we get into it, one quick thing, I have a bonus for you that's worth $1,000. If you stick with me till the end of the webinar, it's yours. So, a little bit about me. My name is Benjamin Portnoy. I'm the founder of a company here in San Diego, California called Mouthpiece Interactive. Now, personally, I've been in marketing for about 30 years now. I've worked on hundreds of campaigns ranging from Fortune 500 companies to small and mid sized businesses where every lead and every dollar really matters. Now, most recently, I headed up demand generation for a $30 million dental marketing company. Before that, I was the director of marketing for the number one independent financial advisor in the country. And, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, but a couple of years ago, I noticed that marketing and business in general were changing. Things were getting faster and the tools were becoming more powerful. You know it as well as I do. AI, automation, CRM systems, and tools like the ones I'm going to show you today make it very possible for smaller businesses to build marketing and follow up systems that not very long ago would have required a much bigger team and a much bigger budget. And that's what I decided to spend my time on. And that's what we do here at Mouthpiece. We help businesses respond faster, follow up more consistently, and get more value from the customers and opportunities that you're already generating. So ultimately, we help you get more done with less manual oversight. And that's what I want to talk about today. It's something called reputation management. And that's one of the clearest examples of that. And so let's get into it a little bit. Meet Mike, meet Chris. They're in the same town. They have probably the same size crew, the same prices. And Mike might actually be the better guy at what he does. But one difference, Chris has just turned on a system that asks every customer for a review after every job. Mike, the other guy, only asks when he remembers or when his office staff remembers. And if you take a look, you can see their two pages look pretty much the same. Fast forward a year. Mike's gotten 14 reviews in that year. His last one came in 2 months ago. He's up to, as you can see, about 66 reviews. But let's look at Chris. Chris kept stacking those reviews using that system, and the system worked. His newest review is 3 days old, and most of them have a reply under them. And one note, 74% of people only care about reviews from the last 3 months. Old reviews don't have as much sway. Now the bar keeps moving up. 68% of people won't use a business under 4 stars. The share who want 4.5 stars or higher almost doubled in 1 year. It used to be 17%. Now it's up to 31%. And 47% of businesses of consumers skip a business with fewer than 20 reviews. What that means is that a profile that looked fine 2 years ago looks weak today. So let's look at this from the eyes of a consumer. Let's say a consumer named Sonia, her air conditioner just died, and she needs someone to fix it. So she searches local air conditioner repair, local AC repair, and she gets a list of results. She doesn't know anyone on that list. She doesn't know Mike, she doesn't know Chris, and she can't tell who's going to do better work. So she can only judge based on what she can see. And that's stars. How many of them, how recently those stars and those reviews came in, and whether the business replies, whether they've put photos on there that she can see who they are. And what this really comes down to is a gut feeling based on the information that they're given, that Sonia's given. She can only see um, what other people are telling her. And so ultimately, if she doesn't have the information of actually knowing these people, she can only go off of what she can see. And that's where these reviews come in. You know you need them, but do you really understand why you need them? Do you really have a good sense? Well, this is why. Reviews really help with two things. Number one, whether Google shows you at all. And secondly, they help the consumer decide if they're going to pick you. Google says that local results come down to three things: relevance, distance, and prominence. Now, reviews live inside of prominence, and I'll break down all three. According to Search Engine Journal, relevance measures how well your business profile matches a user's search words, what they're actually searching for. Distance calculates how far your physical location is from the person searching. Prominence evaluates how well known and trusted your business is online and offline. And that one is driven heavily by review counts, ratings, and web presence. So look at all three of those. You can't move distance. You are where you're located. Relevance, you only set up once. Prominence is the one that you can actually build every single week with the jobs you're already finishing. Now, a company named WhiteSpark asked 47 local search experts what matters in 2026. They agreed on this. When it comes to the local pack, that's all of the listings there at the top, and maps rankings, it comes down to four things. Number one, your rating, how high your stars are. Number two, how many written reviews you have. Three, how recent they are. And number four, whether they keep coming in steadily over time. Did you get a big chunk all at once, none for a long time, or are they dripping in steadily over time? That's it. It's those four things. And every one of them comes from asking. It's four pieces of the same star. Now, here's a real example. This is a company called Mountaineer Heating and Cooling. They're an HVAC company in Boone, North Carolina, 15 employees in business since 1981. And it's a company that looks probably like a lot of the ones on this call. Their office manager, whose name is Joshua, says they were averaging maybe one or two Google reviews a month. And the old way of doing it was pulling a customer list by hand and emailing those people one at a time. Then they turned on an automatic text that goes out after each job. In 6 months, they collected more than 60 reviews. That's a 10-time increase. And it also saved their staff about 4 hours a week. Now, that case study is actually a few years old. If you go look at their Google profile now, they're sitting at almost 10 times that, almost 650 reviews. So it kept working. They implemented a system and kept at it, and it worked consistently. They didn't do a one time campaign. They turned it on, they left it on, and it's still running. They didn't just go get better customers or something. They started asking the ones they already had. Another example, a company called Sunlight Services. They're a septic company in Pennsylvania, and a guy named Harold Case bought it in 2021. Now, when Harold took over, they had about 50 Google reviews. Follow up with past customers was inconsistent or it just didn't happen. They put the follow up on automatic. They had texts, emails, and calls go out after each job. And today, from 50, they're up over 800 Google reviews. They added two trucks and whole new service lines. Now, in full transparency, reviews were just one piece of the puzzle of getting more trucks, of getting more customers, but the direction is the same story as before. The asking for reviews got built into the job instead of just, asking and making sure somebody asks on a regular basis or somebody having to remember. So that's part of the real problem. There are businesses out there, probably yours, where you do a great job. You have thousands of happy customers, but you only have like 37 Google reviews. That's clearly not a problem with doing a good job, and your customers are happy, but you never capture that happiness, that good review. The good work happens, nothing caught it. Why? Well, because most people just leave reviews when they're mad about something. But when you ask a happy customer for a review, they want to help you succeed. You don't ask, you don't get. Now, there's a compounding effect here. If we go back to our example of Mike and Chris, Chris doesn't start over. His reviews keep adding up. His page stays fresh. More people see that other people are hiring him right now. So more people call, more jobs get done, more reviews come in. You can see this happens over and over, almost like a circle. This is what we call a flywheel. Reputation is not a campaign you run once, it's something you build once, and that flywheel keeps running over and over in circles. Now, let's talk about how reviews leak out of the business. And it goes with exactly what we're talking about. Reviews leak out of the business in four places. Number one, you don't ask. Everybody means to ask, but the tech drives off and the next job starts, or your office manager has a thousand other things he or she is doing. Whatever it is, you forget to do it. Number two, you ask too late. It's 3 weeks later and you say, oh, I should have asked for that review, but it's too late. The roof's not new anymore. The toilet's been unclogged the whole time. So your customer is busy and doesn't want to do it. Number three, you had one big push last year and then stopped. You didn't keep at it, so there's no consistency. Or number four, somebody leaves a review and nobody on your team answers it. So again, remember those trust signals. Nobody, they're looking for you to be responsive and talking. They want to feel good about it. And if nobody's responding, it's kind of just a dark, empty hallway. Now, almost 9 out of 10 people expect a business to answer the reviews. 8 out of 10 will use a business that answers all of them. 4 in 10 will skip a business that never answers. Again, that dark hallway. But here's the catch. You can't just, we're talking about AI here. You can't just paste the same thank you under every review. Half of people say that a copy paste reply makes them less likely to call you. Now, that's where AI can help, but not with fake reviews. You can program it to get reply with a real reply, responding exactly to what the customer wrote. So we've spent most of this presentation, the last 15 minutes, talking about where this reputation gap or the review gap comes from. But I want to shift gears a little bit and show you what we actually do about it here at Mouthpiece. Now, let's talk about what I can't promise you. I can't promise you 5-star reviews. I can't promise you a certain number of reviews, and I can't promise where Google is going to rank your business. The reason for that is nobody can. Nobody can legitimately promise those things, but there is a lot that we can control. We can control whether your customers are consistently asked for feedback. We can control whether follow-up happens, when it happens. We can control whether those reviews are being monitored and responded to, so it's not just a blank screen. We can control whether your Google profile is being actively managed so that somebody's actually keeping an eye on it for things that happen on that. And we can control whether the reputation you've already earned is being put to work. And that's what we're going to build. So let's talk about the Mouthpiece Reputation Engine. There's a word I want to put in your mind here, and that important word is system. We're not just giving you a link to your review page and telling your employees to remember to send reviews. whenever they think about it. What we're doing is we're putting that system behind the process. We help create opportunities for feedback. We automate the follow up. We monitor what comes in. We help you respond. We strengthen the information that the public sees and that customers see about your company. We make better use of the reputation that you've already built. And the idea is simple. Your team should be focused on doing great work for your customers, but that system should handle as much of the remembering, following up, monitoring, and organizing as possible. You shouldn't have to think about those things. They should just happen. There's no reason a person should be doing things that, for lack of a better term, robots can do for you. This is the foundation. A job gets completed, and instead of somebody on your team, again, hopefully remembering to ask for a review, that system can take over. The customer can receive a personalized text or email with a simple way to leave feedback. And if they don't respond immediately, the system can follow up again several times based on the process we've created. Now, we're not going to force feed a process either. If you'd prefer that they only get one notification, that's fine too. We can program it that way. And that activity can be tracked instead of disappearing into somebody's phone or inbox or even just their memory. That doesn't force anyone either to leave a review. And again, it certainly doesn't control what they're going to say, but it simply makes asking part of the consistent way, part of the process that your business operates. Then there's what happens after somebody leaves the review. A 5-star review, again, shouldn't just sit there unanswered. A 3-star review might contain something that you can learn from, but a serious complaint like a 1-star review, and you know those happen, as great of a job as you might do, people are people, you might get a 1-star review, but you don't just leave it there, and you certainly don't wait to find out. If that goes out, we help find it and we let you know right away. It shouldn't be discovered like 3 weeks later, just when somebody on your team happened to check Google. We give you a process for monitoring that feedback and being able to respond to it. And we can respond to it with AI. We can use AI to help draft responses and make this dramatically easier to manage. We're not going to make you sound like a robot. It's going to sound like somebody actually responded to it. The goal is simply to make sure customer feedback gets attention instead of being ignored, because prospective customers aren't just reading what your customers say, they're also seeing how you respond. And this is where we start getting beyond reviews. For a local business, your Google business profile is one of the most important pieces of digital real estate that you have. People may see it before they ever actually go to your website, that thing that you spent thousands of dollars on and spent months building. They're probably going to see your business profile and potentially contact you through your Google business profile before they ever see your site. Whether they're looking at your reviews, they're probably looking at your services, your hours, your photos, description, your contact information, and whether you look current and active, like you're actually paying attention. So part of reputation management is making sure we're paying attention to that entire presence. You're not just trying to have good reviews, but reviews are one part of it. You're trying to look like a credible, active business that somebody just feels good about calling. Now, there's another thing that I see businesses do all the time. They work incredibly hard to earn a great review, and then they leave it sitting there. That's valuable social proof that you've already earned, proof that people want to hire you. So, what we can do is put what's called a widget onto your site that brings in those reviews and selected reviews onto your site. So, somebody who's researching your company who lands on your website sees what those Google reviews are without having to hunt for it. They see what real customers are saying. And that's one of the things I really like about this approach. We're not just inventing claims about your company. We're taking the reputation that your customers have already helped you build and make it much more visible on your website. And we can get that looking really good in a way that is prominent. And it's not just one way of doing it. We have several ways that we could display that on your existing site. And it's as easy as we put or we give it to your webmaster a little what's called snippet of code. It's not hard to do. Now, I don't think there's some, let's talk about, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but let's talk about number of reviews. There's not some magic number of reviews that every business needs. You don't just need 15 or 100 or 1,000. A roofer in one market might be competing against companies with 50 reviews, but somewhere else where it's a much more competitive market, companies might be showing up with 500 or 5,000. I have seen, and you probably have seen them too, companies that just have thousands of reviews. What we want is context. We want to see how businesses are ranking around you, how many reviews that they have. And what we can do is look at that and we can look at how your reputation compares with the businesses you're actually competing against. How many reviews do they have? How recent are they? Are those people, are those companies responding? And how does their presence compare with yours? I actually have a tool that can show you if you're searching on the northwest side of town for a certain term like broken air conditioner or fix my toilet, who pops up on the north side of town versus who pops up on when you're searching on the south side of town, the southeast side of town. So again, we're not just saying blankly you need more reviews. We're looking at a much bigger picture and the actual competitive environment and identifying where those gaps are. Now, this is probably the simplest way to explain what we're selling. Before, reputation tends to be something that just happens. This is what it used to be. You get some reviews, somebody remembers to ask occasionally for them, somebody maybe responds, maybe your Google profile gets updated, and maybe somebody notices that a competitor suddenly has another 100 reviews. But nobody really owns the process. What we're doing is putting ownership or, again, building that system underneath everything that I just mentioned, everything that needs to happen on a regular basis to build up your business. There is a process for asking when we put it in place. There's a process for following up. There's visibility into the feedback, the new feedback that's coming in. There's a process for responding that you don't have to do every time. And there's someone who's paying attention to the whole picture. Reputation stops being something you occasionally think about and becomes something that the business actively manages. So, when you work with us, and yeah, this is a sales pitch, if it's a fit for you, let's talk about what you get. When you work with us, this is what we're actually putting together. We start by looking at the whole picture. We're looking at what customers see today, like your reviews, your Google presence, your competitors, and the process that you're currently using. Then we build the review engine so requesting feedback and following up no longer depends on somebody remembering, it just happens. We create a system for monitoring and responding to reviews, and we can bring your reviews onto your website like we talked about, so the social proof that you've already earned works harder for you. And we continue paying attention to the reputation system instead of simply installing some software and walking away. That's why I describe this as reputation management rather than something like a review request service. It's a whole system that looks at the whole picture. Now, let's say we get that installed for you and it's working, and you say, we want to go even further. Well, there are ways we can expand this depending on what your needs are and what your hopes are for the company. For example, some companies have incorrect or inconsistent information spread across online directories, not just Google, but Yelp and Angie's List, other online directories. We can look at up to, I believe it's 50 or 60 of them. Some businesses want us to take a more active role in the content that goes on their Google business profile. We can add website chat or AI powered conversations for businesses that are already getting traffic, but aren't giving visitors an easy way to engage because maybe you already have a chatbot, but is it able to answer questions and book spots on your calendar based on what somebody needs. Let's say they go on your website, their HVAC broke, and they want to book something right away. We can install a chatbot that does that for you, not just takes your name and email and sends it. We can build more advanced testimonial systems that make sense. That includes video testimonials. We can actually install a system that not only asks for them, but records them and then puts that into play. You don't have to start with all this. The reputation management system is the foundation, but we have a lot more that we offer when you work with Mouthpiece. So I want to be straight with you about what this costs. The cost to build and manage the reputation management system is $279 a month, and there's a 3-month minimum. What that includes is the initial reputation audit and setup, the review request and follow up system, monitoring, response support, the website review widget, the Google business profile work, reporting, and competitive monitoring. And I'm intentionally putting the price right here because I don't want you to have to book a sales call just to find out what this costs. And yes, we do have competitors who charge two, three, four times this, up to $1,000 a month for this kind of service. I don't want to charge that. I want to make this easy for you to get started. Now, you heard me talk about this at the beginning. There's also a $1,000 setup fee because there is real work building and configuring the system, audit, build, integrations, configurations. But if you decide to get started within 48 hours of this webinar, we're waiving that setup fee entirely. I'm going to take $1,000 off of what it takes you to get started. You start with nothing, just that $279 for your first month. That's $1,000 of build work on us because you showed up today. Now, to be clear why there's a window on it, the setup work is the part that takes a lot of our team's time, and we can only onboard a handful of businesses at once. 48 hours is how we keep it honest. So if this is something that you are already going to do, doing it now is the version where it costs you $1,000 less. $279 a month, 3-month minimum, nothing down for setup. 48 hours is how long I'm going to leave that offer on the table for you. After that, I can't guarantee that it's going to be there. I want to be clear about what I'm not offering you and what I'm not putting on the table. I'm not going to tell you we're going to make you number one on Google. I'm not going to promise that you'll get a certain number of reviews every month. Certainly not going to promise you a 5-star rating because that's up to you. Your customers decide what they say about you based on the work you do. And I'm not going to put some made up revenue number on a slide and tell you this system guarantees it. What I can tell you is that we can put a professional system behind the parts of your reputation that you can control. And for a lot of businesses, that's a very different way of operating than what they have today. The 3-month minimum is not because we're running some kind of 90-day promotion. It's because we're building something into the way your business operates. The first part is getting the foundation right and getting everything connected. Then the system starts running consistently. And over time, we have more information to work with. We can see what's happening. We can monitor feedback, compare the competitive picture, and make sure the process is functioning the way it should. So 3 months from now, your business will have a fully functioning reputation management system that helps you capture more reviews and build your online reputation, which will ultimately lead to more customers who like and trust you. So whether you do anything after we're done here, you already have an online reputation, whether you like it or not. Customers are already leaving signals about your business. Prospective customers are already looking at what other people are saying. And Google's already putting your business beside your competitors and letting people compare you. The only real question is whether you're actively managing that process or mostly just letting it happen. If you'd like us to put the system behind it for you, we can get started right now. It's $279 per month with a 3-month minimum. And for the next 2 days, for the next 48 hours, we're waiving that $1,000 setup fee. I'm happy to get on the phone and explain more of how this works and just make sure this is a fit for your needs. But if you want to get started right now, that's fine too. Just go to mouthpieceinteractive.com and we can get started right now today. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.